What's up and welcome, class from Speech 219, right? 219? Yeah. Um, Today I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about myself and the experiences that I've had with speaking in front of people and speech in general. And before this class, I've had a good amount of public speaking experiences. I've acted in a lot of plays. I did musicals as well. My YouTube channel that I utilize for my business is the only real 21st century medium I use. I don't use a whole lot of video in what I generally do. But currently, I volunteer at a church in Del Mar. It's the La Jolla Presbyterian Church. And I speak to a large range of adults and kids all the way down to, I would say, 10 to 12 range. So the challenges I have with that is that it's hard to hit a specific way of speaking when you don't have a definite age demographic. So like with the younger kids, I have to be able to talk clearly and use smaller words so everybody can understand. But with the adults, I have to be afraid that I don't come off like I don't really know what I'm talking about and like I'm just a kid up there talking. So I actually speak there once a week, usually every Friday night. And that seems to help out with a lot of stuff. It's obviously in front of a live audience. There's usually 30 to 50 people there. And they don't just come to hear me speak. I do speak there. But there's actually a lot of other speakers as well. So we all kind of have our turn. And usually when I'm brainstorming, I look at a lot of topics and I begin brainstorming. I monologue with myself and make sure to jot down key points, but I don't jot down verbatim what I want to say. If I do that, I get mixed up really easily because I end up off track. It's easy for me to end up off track, down a rabbit hole, and then I'm trying to figure out in the back of my mind a way to bring me back onto track so I can finish with the point that I really needed to make. And so it's easy to get off track if I write down verbatim. I end up mixing my words up, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I messed up, and then it's a whole chaotic realm that just never works out in the end. I usually end up with a page or so of basic notes and points, and I can fill in the rest off the top of my head. Like I'm doing right now, I have a list of points that I wanted to hit, and then I can fill in the rest as I go, just based on experience and the monologues that I've done, and kind of some of the key points and things that I decided that I wanted to use. I definitely never write out a script. It's tends up being counterproductive, especially when you're in a live environment. Like the book talks about, you use a lot of cues from your audience to decide on where you're going to go with your speech a lot of times. So depending on the level of interest or what portions or topics that I said that I noticed that people were really engulfed in, I can expand on those topics to keep their interest and then continue on with the speech. So that tends to help a lot. With anxiety, I do have anxiety when it comes to public speaking. I've learned that if you're well prepared for a public speech and you're well prepared for, say, acting, you learned all your lines, you're not going to mess up, you're well prepared for everything, that anxiety turns into excitement. And you want to show what you've learned, you want to get up in front of the camera and produce. And that's kind of what I've ended up doing throughout the years. I realized that my anxiety will eat me up even with anything if I'm not prepared at work. The more acting I do today is mostly at work, acting like I want to be there and acting like I'm actually working, which is, don't tell my boss, hopefully he doesn't find these videos. But, the anxiety seems to be manageable, and at a certain point it's helpful. Sometimes it's detrimental, but not usually. When you're prepared and you're talking about a subject that you're well versed on and you like a lot, you know a lot about, especially something that you love, it's easy to talk about yourself because obviously you know the most about yourself. And those kind of topics are really easy to do and the anxiety is really low. With speech class in general, just this specific speech class, I've never actually done a speech class. I did some lower level acting classes when I was younger, and I had an acting coach and an agent and all that other jazz, but I've never done an actual speech class. And now with the digital age, it's weird because I'm doing a speech to my Pixel 2, Verizon, Google phone. So it's a little weird to have to talk to a phone, but you know, we talk to phones all day. It's just usually it's not videotaped, so it's getting there. So the more confident I am with the information that I have, the easier it is to give a speech. As an engineering major, being able to communicate, like it covered in the book, you know, communication and communication skills in a workplace are like the #1 reason you would be promoted or hired in America, which is awesome. I like to think I have good communication skills. I'm really good at reading a room and finding people's interest and relating to people quickly as possible, which helps me communicate better and makes me ultimately feel a lot more comfortable, which is really all I care about, is making myself feel more comfortable in a public situation or in a conversational situation with other technical people. And, you know, especially in engineering, you need to be able to convey an idea and be able to have someone else convey their idea to you and be able to communicate back and forth, because there's an ebb and flow and a transfer of information that happens in engineering and the aerospace field that I work in. And if you can't communicate well, you just are not going to naturally progress. I mean, it's horrible to say the least. I mean, they have entire positions based around liaisons where you have to be able to communicate. And, you know, furthermore, being able to present information clearly to a group is, with my background, is definitely one of those huge deals as well. And it definitely increases project progression. Without using a proper verbiage, I almost said verges. Without using proper verbiage and staying in a constant timeline, it's hard for people to follow you, which is one of the issues that I've had speaking at the church. Is it's easy for me to not only get off topic, but get off the timeline, and I'm forced to have to say, well, before that I did this, or before that I did, and you're losing people at that point. So it's really important for me to stay on a timeline, especially when I'm talking about myself. But, you know, in conclusion, I'm very lucky to have been exposed to public speaking at an early age. And it's also enabled me to command a room and make myself stand out in a good way, which is more than I can say for some people. And, you know, that's pretty much it. So I'm looking forward to this class, and hopefully you guys got something out of that, and have a great rest of your day.